I have pushed the big green button, which has now become the big red button.
Oh, God, what does that mean?
That means we are officially on the record.
That's insane. Well, it feels good to be in this space.
Yes. So today, drum roll. Yes, we're super excited because we're recording this so close to winter solstice, the day when people spiritually think you should be setting your intentions and thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And today we have Faith.
Hi, happy to be here, everybody. Episode 2.
And producer Pat has decided to participate.
Yes.
We love producer Pat.
That was quite an alliteration, huh? Producer Pat is participating.
I think that just needs to be the continuous thing, is producer Pat.
It's very easy to make alliteration with Pat. There's a lot of words and sounds in general.
Paw words? You know what? Give me a paw word. I want a paw word right now.
Propagate.
Propagate, producer Pat.
I don't think I would ever use the word propagate, but it has 2 P's, and so it popped into my mind.
Probably.
Probably is a good one.
There you go.
Preposterous.
Ooh,
I'm
preposterous.
not sure if I want to associate that with my producer, though.
Preposterous?
Yes.
Well, that'd be presumptuous.
Oh, good one!
I'll see myself out. Thank you for having me.
We should all be just signing off. It can't get any better than this.
Oh, this is good. Good stuff. Winter solstice. Winter solstice.
Winter
My God.
solstice. And the topic is New Year resolutions. So, as this goes, I grew up in India. So, the whole premise of the show is I pick topics that I find interesting about American culture, and then we find the common point where, yes, it was universal versus, I'm not sure how this became the norm because my norm is different. And then you guys Americanize me.
Is this the Americanizing of you? Is there like a process? Is it over the span of a season? Is this over the span of several seasons of this show? I'm curious to compare back, to see how Americanized we can get you.
Well, we're only on episode 2.
Well, let's see. We have a lot of time to figure this out.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it really is an interesting topic to think about. You mentioned it earlier with winter solstice and how people feel that at that point you need to have some kind of revelation or a change in you or something for the better. And visually, end of the calendar year for us, it looks like something where you want to start fresh. But in a way, isn't that kind of like a procrastination thing? Where it's like, I'll fix this thing about me when the calendar turns. Or is it something more of hope?
So this is where I'm lost because if you look at the Georgian calendar, I think it's just out of convenience that, hey, the new year is starting to count Jan 1st onwards. So anything that you need to start now is a good time. Logically, okay, sure, fine. But if you look at the way our bodies are tuned, we just came through fall, right? In Northern Hemisphere, specifically the colder places, it is a time where people do experience seasonal depression.
Yeah.
So they're coming from their lowest point. Next, we move on to Thanksgiving. And in the very first episode, we discussed how it's a time for pause. If you were an agrarian society, that is the time when you actually take a break, reflect back on the year, and, have a vacation.
Yeah.
So in terms of mindset, I really don't think we're all geared up to say, yes, let's go, I want to achieve. You're still waking up. I mean, isn't that a hangover time? Jan 1st, to me, is the day where everyone should be having that hangover cure of a drink first thing in the morning.
The bloody, what is it, Bloody Marys? I don't know.
That's the
Whiskey.
Tomato
mimosa.
juice. Wait, whiskey's for a hangover?
I mean, usually it's whiskey with an egg yolk. I've never tried it. I never will.
Can't say I've ever had that much to the point where I would need remedying, but I'm pretty straight tail.
But I think that's where the whole concept of cocktails at brunch comes from.
I see, kind of like a weaning off in a way. But no, there is something to be said about a reset time. I feel like that is something in American culture that is kind of not really viewed as anything. Even our vacation time is spent oh, vacationing, we're going to Disney, or we're going to do this, or clean the house. And I know that my parents, my mother's side, she grew up in Europe. So she was in the Netherlands, she was in Germany. And one thing that is bizarre is walking around with a coffee cup here in the States. So people usually over in Europe, I don't know how it is in India or anywhere else, but you get coffee, you sit down, you enjoy it, and then you move on.
So we have street hawkers, but the thing with street hawkers is everyone stands there, eats there. That's what I realized about fast food, even when I moved places, that it is scratch cooking.
Yeah.
It is clean ingredients. And you take that pause. The only difference is that it is a bite-size meal, or it is going to be finger food.
Yeah.
But you do stand there, you finish it there, you get rid of your paper or whatever it is, right, that you were eating out of. This on the go, or having things as you're driving, this kind of a multitasking. I mean, eating is such an intimate activity in the rest of the world, because it is a communal activity.
It is. It's something we all unify in and need. And here in the States, people are rushing around, chugging things. They're spilling it all over their shirts, or maybe that's just me. But people are always on the go, and they don't pause, even if it is something small.
Yeah.
We're always going and going, and even vacationing for us is going. Vacationing, taking that hangover remedy, it's just sitting there and going, oh my goodness.
That's interesting.
Wow,
So
the couch is settling in right now.
Do you think is that why people set their New Year resolutions, or the resolutions are New Year's resolutions, because there's a sense of guilt that you took such a long pause towards the end of the year?
I can see that, because it's more of like I took too long of a break, but now I need to do something big. It's not even something little like, I'm going to hang up this jacket that's here. It's like, no, I need to change something extreme about myself, whether it be how I live, who I'm with, my hair color. I'm going to chop it all off and dye it blonde. It's like, you're right. It's kind of reciprocating. It's an IOU in a way of, I took too long of a pause. So rather than continuing and picking up as usual, why don't I take something bigger and make it something grand to make up for that time I spent lollygagging and dilly-dallying of sitting and eating and enjoying my time. So that is a very interesting cultural point. I mean, Pat, what do you make of all of this?
I'm reminded of a short film that was featured in a lot of film festivals that was called Discipline. And it was a conversation between somebody going through recovery. So in like an Alcoholics Anonymous setting, and he's chatting with a sponsor. And the theme is sort of this guy, and he's kind of like had a bit of a relapse bad night, and his sponsor's there talking to him. And he's lamenting that, like, if I could just be more like if I could just get the motivation for this. Right. And the guy talks about how motivation is inherently fleeting and will never get you where you need to go. It's discipline is how you develop it, how you get through the days where the motivation is not there anymore. Right. And it just made me think of, in a roundabout way, that's what it made me think of. I was like, yeah, I like the message in that film, and I think that a lot of times with something like a New Year's resolution, there is, it's like, oh, maybe if I make a bit of a ceremony out of this thing in this very specific way, it's going to move forward. Like, it's sometimes when you have something that theoretically you want to do, and you're just having trouble.
Guilt tripping yourself.
Yeah,
it's true.
and
The
it's just
self-guilt
sort of
trip.
like, oh, well, then I can do this because it's a New Year's resolution, and I'm going to make a thing out of it because I didn't do it before.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, this is somewhat off topic. I like that I don't do New Year's resolutions myself, but I can very much relate to and understand the idea of doing it, because there's just so much that happens often around the holidays, and so many plans and meeting with people. And I happen to end up doing a lot of things. Like, I was the assistant stage manager for a Christmas musical this year, and I ended up being the main person running all of the tech equipment in the balcony because the other person wasn't available. And there's just events like that. And then it's after Thanksgiving, and, here at BATV, we had our holiday party this week, which was a huge amount of effort for everybody involved. And
a lot of fun.
That's also coming from, it was great. And but I also had one in Acton 3 weeks before that. And then, there's other things like, not that long ago, we had our big haunted house thing. So it's like the months from October through December are so filled with so many things. And it feels to me very good when that's done, because it feels like you're spending so much time just running on a treadmill catching up with it, that the fact that January, it's like what happens in January, like nothing really. And it feels like, oh, I want to take advantage of maybe the fact that I'm not completely bombarded with like week after week after week of a thing that I have to do.
So is it the inertia of constantly being in that, space of tradition and doing and scheduling that people feel obligated, that just because the world hasn't decided and put a schedule for them in January, now they need to fill it with something just as stressful?
Yeah. Well, here's another question that begs to be asked is, especially in this ever fleeting world of seeing what everybody's doing on their phones, on social media, how much of these resolutions are for oneself and how many of them are expectations of what we think others want us to be doing? Think about how many gym memberships people sign up for January 1st. They leave February 1st. But is that really, and I don't want to assume of people, I'm sure there's plenty of people who do things for themselves on New Year's, but is part of it to go and say to people, I feel good. I just wanted to say, I'm going to the gym now. I'm eating good. I'm doing this. Is that also for, in a sense, something sociological, to feel belonging, to feel, look at me, I'm now on the right track. What do you think of this? Is it?
I have the opposite thought process on that, because a lot of people decide what they're going to do for New Year's about a month and a half in advance.
Yeah.
And what I see them do is, because Jan 1st is the day when I'm going to change my life, let me live all my life in December.
That's true too.
And you're bloody shoving your face with all the pies and goods and alcohol that you can find in preparation of that. I mean, just hibernate at this point, man.
Yeah, it's like you do all of this extra, and then so when you start January 1st, you've almost kicked yourself in the kneecap. It's like, whoa.
No wonder you want to quit. I mean, your belly's so big, you cannot do a damn push-up.
You become so gluttonous for a month, and then you're like, and I'm going to change it all next month.
But the question for me is, if that change is so drastic for you, and if it is such a difficult change, why do you want to put yourself in such a stressful situation? And that's why I was saying, like, why do people feel the need to just create this, like turn a switch on and then poof, I've changed? Why can't it be gradual? Why can't it be a year-long goal? And like you pointed out, motivation doesn't last. Discipline does. Consistency does. And you're not going to start doing 10 push-ups day one.
I don't think I can do 10 push-ups after 3 months. I have no upper body strength.
I always saw you up there building shelving units.
It's just, no, that's just screwing things into themselves. Like you have little rods of
You're
plastic.
a handy girl.
I'd like to say I am, because I have to be, because I'll look at a pile of things that are just broken and not assembled. I'm like, all right, they're just going to sit there unless I do something about it. And there's this new nifty thing they're doing where they give you a little booklet with instructions. So all I have to do is follow it. I'm like, oh yeah. I don't think
Did you just discover IKEA?
You know what? I don't think I actually have ever been to an IKEA. No, I've never been. I am new to IKEA. I've never seen one.
Pilgrimage to me. Every 4 years I must go.
Now, why is it the 4-year cycle for you? Is there a reason behind the 4-year cyclic nature of this?
Like the Olympics.
And the 2028 Olympics will be taking place in Tokyo, and Avantika is already at IKEA.
So, if it were left to me, I would be there pretty much, I'm not going to say every weekend. I'm not that ancient and bored.
Ancient and Bored is your new album.
But I could do it twice a year if I really wanted to.
Yeah. In a way, though, to loop this back, is the cyclic nature of you going to IKEA every 2-4 years in the same way a reset to our New Year's resolutions where you feel, all right, out with the old furniture and with the new. Let's build something. Let's make something new.
No, yeah. Oh God, no. I don't romanticize physical labor at all.
I do a little bit.
I just don't. Come on, I mean. So there are 2 events that trigger IKEA visit in my life. First, and the most important, is if I'm moving.
Yeah.
And the second one is if I am renovating or trying to redo a new room or a new aspect of my life.
Yeah.
IKEA usually has things that are durable, and you can try it on a budget. You can test your taste without going bankrupt. But there's one thing that I absolutely do not prescribe to, which is just changing everything about your space or being unintentional about things.
Exactly. There needs to be purpose and
Buy
drive.
what you want and love it. Save for it, wait it out, right? You don't have to do the entire house in one go. You don't have to have all the paintings you could ever think of on every single wall.
No, it's true.
Have things that you value, have things that you look at and be reminded of something. And I'm okay with delaying gratification. And therefore, for me, once in 4 years is enough.
Yeah. There's something nice to be said about that. I'm going to
Olympics of interior decoration.
I love the Olympics of interior decorating. And you know what? I'm going to say something controversial. There's going to be a whole lot of angry online shoppers, but
Amazing.
I was born in a time where I got to experience life previously before all of this instant gratification of online shopping, of getting things the next day. Wasn't there something special about calling something in on TV or placing an order in a catalog? Oh, what? And then you have to wait. And then if it comes in 3 weeks, you go, wow, it came early. But it's just that buildup, that anticipation. I don't know. I think we get things a little too easy now. It's kind of like I missed watching QVC and calling in my flashlights. And then next thing you know, a month or two later, well, what's this? It's my flashlights.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't
it's
think I ever did that, but what I did do was the box tops.
box. See, I never
Like
did
you
box
collect
tops.
enough of the box tops from the cereal, and then you send it in, and they give you like a little toy car or something.
But the
Isn't that
gratification,
cute?
it spans time. And I think that I'm going to sound like a geezer now going, oh, it's just technology. But we expect things so quickly. And maybe that ties into New Year's resolutions where it's like, boom, right away, everything changes. There's something nice about it just sizzling and settling in, and you're just seeing it simmer and waiting for all those flavors to connect and make what it is you're looking for. It's the process.
But the thing is, the thing with impulses are they fall just as quick as they rise, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I think most people fail to keep up with their New Year's resolutions, because they think they're going to change overnight. And they're just coming out of a very rested, very quiet, inertial state. And mentally, emotionally, and therefore physically, you're not there where you think you will be by the end of January. And you're just so disappointed that you just quit, instead of saying that, okay, that's where I was. I still made some progress. And now that I have perspective, let me set realistic goals.
Exactly. And
I think
mean,
it's a sense of frustration sometimes too, because if you're setting a goal for yourself as a New Year's resolution, it's usually something that a person has wanted for a long time and feels frustrated from not being in the place that they want to get to, and you feel like there's a sense of something major just having ended when the holidays end.
Right.
And it's like, oh, now finally, I'm going to be in this place and I'm going to get this thing.
and I mean, you're left with yourself, too, if you think about it. What do we all do collectively around this time? We get family, we get friends, we gather, we see people we haven't seen in a while, and then it's just gone. And you're left with who? You. And now you have to look in and say, well, now I'm stuck with me. Everyone else is doing their thing. How do I make myself someone I want to be around?
Or are you trying to become the person that your grandparent or that random third cousin or uncle told you haven't achieved yet?
That's true, too. You have the relatives of, so what do you do now?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that just in the meantime while you find something worthwhile? And you're like, oh, God. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Aunt Betty? Am I doing this wrong?
Why did you bring this person to this family meal if you're not looking at it long term, or whatever it may be, right?
Exactly.
Like if you can't think of your life 5 years down the road, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, to live so much in the moment is a good thing in a way, but you also, there is an amount of preparation and thinking ahead.
But the ironic thing is, people tell themselves 5 years down the road what they want to be, they'll achieve it by the end of the next year, and they quit by the end of the first month.
It's true. It is very true. And I think that really has to come with, but I want it now. And then you get there either a little too fast, or you do it in a way where you're not so prepared, and then you get scared. And the thing that makes you feel comfortable is just to pull back, because it's, what's that theory? There's something where people will often choose to fail on purpose rather than being failed by someone else around them, because they feel like, well, I quit.
We gotta Google this one.
Well, what's it called? I can't think of this. I have an associate's in psychology, which is absolutely nothing. So I don't know how to type it either, but it really is for example, let's say there's a student in a high school that is troubled and is feeling let down. I don't understand the math that I'm being told. The option that is often taken is, well, I'm just not going to show up to class, and I'm not going to take the test because I can't be failed if I don't go. So why not fail myself? Whereas opposed to some other student who might say...
That's not how it worked in Asian cultures, but you please go ahead, Americanize me.
I'm 75%. I'm a good amount of Indonesian, so I have a little bit, but from the white part of me, let's break this down. So
you have to grow up in an Asian country to really know, you don't have time to sit back, cry.
No, you got to do everything. I mean, for me, I was always right on the ball and getting everything done, but from my peers around me, and not all of them, but it was often seen as, well, what's the point? They're just going to fail me anyway. And what's better, to be failed by somebody else, a teacher, a peer, or to say, I have the control now and I'm going to not show up and I'm not going to do it. And in a way that's, I don't know, gratifying for me. I freak out if there's anything below an A-, but I'm saying for these people.
It's less embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like you're taking control.
You're not someone who's going to be humiliated if you're kind of proud of it.
Don't say 89 around me. 89 gives me stress. But no, I mean, and is that something to do with quitting on resolutions so soon? It's like, well, you didn't fire me, I quit. Like, no, I can't do 10 push-ups. It's because I choose not to, rather than I tried and I couldn't get there. And one might seem better in the moment, but in reality, in the long term, I think, Pat, you were saying, right, like you tried it. I think it was you, Avantika, who said, I tried it and it didn't work out as well. Look at how far I got in this amount of time. Right. But people would rather just say, nope, done.
That's a quote from Billy Joel. There's a song lyric where he says, some people find that it's easier to hate than to wait anymore.
Yeah.
I'm snapping.
But,
the snaps.
For me, culturally, the reason why... So New Year's resolutions was a thing that we spoke about in school and everything. And I've had the same New Year resolution for almost 25 years now. So please take it with a grain of salt. I was 13 when I came up with it.
Well, good on you for sticking to it for this long.
And this is the reason why, because it's just a placeholder for me. It was keep it rocking and be stupid.
I love that. That's my next tattoo. Keep it rocking and be stupid.
So be stupid, because I truly believe if you think that you know everything, you stop enjoying life, you stop respecting people, and you lose that sense of wonderment. And keep rocking just at that point was the thing to say, it was our version of YOLO.
YOLO. Now that's a name I haven't learned in a long time. Heard
YOLO?
in a long time.
Really?
I haven't heard YOLO in so long. And
I'm so millennial. I think YOLO is cool.
Listen, I'm right here on the cusp. I am a zillennial.
The thing about you that I've noticed, Faith, is that you are just young enough that there are things that to you are very far in the past. That to me, I'm like, wasn't that just last year?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things like when you're like reminiscing nostalgically, and I'm just like, I didn't know that wasn't even current anymore.
I still do
because
it.
time starts to pass differently once
what?
you get past the quarter century mark.
Right.
Well, I just hit quarter century, but you know what's interesting to me is I noticed that recently. There's a new trend, quote unquote trend, of like, literally it's, I wish I was in high school back in 2016. And I'm like, that was just like 2 years ago, because that's when I was in high school. I'm like, it's nothing different.
Pre-pandemic, is it? That's what they're trying to say?
Perhaps it's the pandemic, because now they're like, oh, look at, everyone used to wear high-waisted jeans and flannels. I'm like, I'm wearing high-waisted jeans and a flannel. Like, what is going on? But
welcome to LL Bean.
Oh, no, I had my LL Bean backpack when I was a kid. It had my initials on it. I loved that thing. But No, it's
You know,
true.
I've only been to LL Bean once.
IKEA every 2 to 4 years. LL Bean one time.
That's right. And anyone listening who wants to know me,
If you want to know, feel free. Start taking your tallies of which stores Avantika visits and how often, and
Yeah.
we'll do a tally up by the end of the season.
yeah, by the end of 2030, we would have met somewhere.
There is a chance that, or this is also kind of sponsored ad. I feel like we had a good roll and moment about IKEA a moment ago that felt very like it's good to try something new and also on a budget. I'm like, yeah, we should get sponsored for this.
We should be sponsored for it, yes. So the thing with New Year's resolutions for me was it didn't add up with my upbringing and the value system. In an Asian household, or Indian rather, the value is placed more on perseverance and practice and persistence. Wow. We are really rolling with the P alliterations today.
There we go, Pat. We got a whole bunch of P's for
Yeah, I
you.
told you they happen all the time. Once you think of it, you hear them
Right.
everywhere.
Personally, I think we can get more.
So,
Yes, but yeah, so perseverance and
so the thing was, what is really going to change on that one date?
yeah.
It is a continued process. You're never perfect. And the motivation is not to pursue perfection, but to pursue excellence.
I like that. I think that's really nice. In an ever-changing world, an ever-learning world. I mean, for me personally, I love school. And I actually just got told that my thesis was approved today. And I will be graduating. Thank you.
Felicitations.
But I feel good. But to that point, I'm like, well, what now? And I'm looking already at community college again to see if there's some other classes I could take, because you're right. Learning is ever growing. The second you feel you're done learning, you're done living. And I think
why
that's
stay
beautiful.
stupid.
Stay stupid.
Stay stupid.
Oh, I'm gonna stay stupid, baby.
Yes.
I love it.
Adds
No.
up. It sounds like so jarring when you say it,
But it
because
makes
it came from a 13-year-old's head. But
An intuitive one at that, bad.
yeah,
Is-
I have to say it was very profound.
Good on
Profound.
you. Profound, Pat.
Producer Pat is profound.
Oh my God. That's it. I'm going to go get a dictionary after this. But no, I think that good on 13-year-old you. I think that in anything, if our viewers can take anything from this, it's don't strive for perfection. Bobby! Sorry. Bobby! Bob just walked by.
It's
Wanna
Bobby.
say hi?
Hey, come say hi. He's hopping in. Oh my
So
God, he
Bobby,
just broke the whole
welcome
desk.
back. The
Thanks.
topic today is New Year resolutions. Why we try to force ourselves into out of a state of inertia and create New Year's resolutions in January that we miserably fail at within 30 to 60 days.
February 1st is the maximum date.
Is it?
And we only have 3 microphones in here, which means that Bobby will have to be
Bobby will
exceptionally
share.
loud to be heard.
I'll
That's
have to
very
share
rare
with
for
him.
me. I've
Ew.
never been loud in my life.
We were just wrapping up the first question. The question is, do you make New Year resolutions? And what is the most miserable failure you've had thus far?
You know, I never have, and I bet you part of that is so that I don't have to look at myself in the mirror and admit that I've failed.
Oh my God! What? Sorry, you just okay.
Not you
He's gonna hate
personally, that
this.
she
You
called it.
just
She was just talking about it in
now
general.
for all the viewers at home. This is a double win for me because
Yes.
not only was I right, but he just confirmed and he admitted that I was right about something without knowing. Thank you, Bob. I really
Oh,
appreciate
no.
you.
No,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to never do that.
No, but you did. You did, you fool. But see what I mean, though? This
There
is
we
what I'm
go.
talking about.
And this is why you should listen to ancient people, because we come with wisdom.
I try to ignore her whenever possible.
I am 5 years older than you, Robert. I'm not ancient.
no,
If I'm ancient, then you're like still fossilizing too.
that's
Yes.
probably true.
Yes.
But no, that's very interesting
I
how that
love
ended up
that.
working out. But
Yeah.
I don't think we ever talked about failures with resolutions, and were they for a good reason? You know, we think of failures as a bad thing, but I know for me personally, speaking back to my master's journey, I was actually declined first for the first school I applied to for a master's degree. I was broken up about it. I was so upset that the thing I had submitted was not great, but they only got to see one work. And because of that failure, I am now graduating from Harvard. with my master's.
Was that your New Year's resolution?
You know what? I can't say it was.
Right?
I
So
wish
it's
it
just
was.
persistence.
Yeah, it's just persistence. It was a goal I set out to do, but had I not have failed by not getting into that first college for my master's, I would have never said, well, why not try Harvard? My mother
Right.
recommended it. She said, just apply to Harvard. I'm like, no, that's I just failed one. Why am I going to
Do
get into this? It was the loving peer pressure of my mother, and I did. And then when I got the, sure, we'll take you, I went, what? But in a way, is failing, especially for a resolution, a step towards what we're actually looking for?
My favorite takeaway from what you just said is you see your mother as your peer, and that's the sweetest, sweetest thing to say.
I'll say it all the time. My mother's my mother. She's also my friend. She's
Oh,
my
sweet.
peer. She is someone I choose to spend time with. Look, 18.
Sounds like a greeting
I
card.
could've-
True love.
Yeah, I could have left.
True
Hey, Mom, I
love.
love you. Shout out to my mom. She's the best. But I could have left at age 18. I could have packed up my stuff and went. But no, now the time, and I tell her this all the time, the time I am with my family, I'm actively choosing to do because my family is my friend. Is my friend. Wow, here I am just saying Harvard a minute
God.
ago. I
Lovely
swear,
grammar.
don't take
Lovely.
back.
This is so sweet. Everyone's going to end up with diabetes by the end of this.
But
We
no,
need to
I
move
think
on
it's-
to more
yeah.
mundane things.
You wanna? Okay, we can say some. Think of a P word for Pat, and we'll transition.
Yes.
Perfect. Pat,
The
we
other
think you're
thing-
perfect.
The other
Thank
thing
you.
we're working on are P alliterations. So the second thing that we were moving on to, social media trend, October theory.
Huh?
Can you please tell all of us? I totally know what that is, but let's say I didn't. Like, how would you explain that to me if I were someone who didn't know what
You
that
want me
was?
to pretend I'm young? All right.
Yeah, what is this?
So October theory is something that social media has decided that setting intentions in January is actually setting you back because that's when everyone else is setting their goals. And October is the time of transition. So your brain is wired for change. So set your intentions then. But some people in social media use it to create intentions and goals for just the last quarter of the year. I don't know how exactly that works. Now I'm the kind of person who thinks you should be evaluating your goals regularly.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it makes sense to me. I am not convinced that aligning yourself with that transition is the right time to make strong decisions because, like I said, it is a time where the body and mind is gearing for a pause. It is also a time where in colder climates people start experiencing seasonal depression. Is that really the time where you're equipped to make the most logical of decisions? I question that.
You know what? And that makes sense to me. But this begs to question then, when is the time? If we had to pick one, I mean, if we're really getting very deep on this podcast, time is just a man-made concept to make us feel like we're going somewhere and doing
Ouch.
things. But we're not going to do that today.
Yeah,
I've
time
had too
travel
much
is for
caffeine.
another
The exact time is my
But-
birthday when I'm staring out the window and listening to Frank Sinatra's. It was a very good year.
I like that. I like that.
Okay, so do you
No,
think birthday?
I'm being completely facetious. I find with goals, I
was
am
convinced.
in a state of consistent evaluation with it because I think trying to adhere to a timetable means that it's not necessarily that you're doing the thing when it's most conducive to being done or
Right.
most convenient, if that makes sense. Like, I nebulously had a couple of goals floating around for the past couple of years that, like, somewhere around my freshman year of college, I got this bee in my bonnet about, well, I should really start exercising more. And it didn't become feasible to do that until like a year later. And it wasn't really like, there wasn't any particular point when I was like, well, I have to start doing this. It was just a matter of like, well, when can I fit this into my schedule? When is it reasonable to try and make the change?
I personally find it stressful to think about what the timing should be.
Right.
I will. My brain is very like cyclically analytical.
Yep.
So if I begin the conversation of, oh, it should be this time, or should it be this time, or should it be that time, or should it be that time, there will never end up being an answer for it.
Right.
It will just be the endless back and forth. And so I like to not start things like that in the first place whenever possible. because it's like going on to a little hamster wheel.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to get on that wheel because it's not going to take me anywhere.
Yes, that is true, and that's a really good realization I'm having. I don't think people fail by the end of the first month, then, right? Because that goal, if you value it, it hasn't gone away, and if you don't value it anymore, it probably wasn't something which truly meant anything to you. It was something very superficial, like I said. Maybe your third cousin or a grandparent made a comment that made you think that, oh yeah, I must retaliate. And what did you say? Color my hair strawberry blonde?
Oh, no, I think I said buzz all your hair off and dye it blonde.
Right.
And it's been
scalp
tempting.
is blonde.
But the scalp is blonde. The scalp is, but could the little hair nublets be as well?
Oh, God.
You can stare and think about what that would look like. For me, not my look. But
No.
no, I don't think it is. But well, I had something to say along those lines of change. And, I know what I was going to say. In a strange way, the pandemic helped me filter out what it is that really takes space in my life and what doesn't. Pandemic literally forced a lot of things to get shut down, and at least in my life. But I realized that once I returned to whatever normal is now, there's some things I left. There's some things I said, that was a part of me then. I'm going to leave it there. I'm moving forward. And there's some things I said, no, I miss this. One of them being theater. I'm a thespian. I like to do community theater. And there was something I missed about performing, having something so finite where once it's performed, you're done. It's now in the past.
She also liked the applause.
I like when they clap for me in the audience. But in a way, it's you find, and I think to what you were saying, Avantika, it's kind of like you know what will stick with you when it doesn't leave.
Right.
Things can be momentary. And people too can come into your life for moments. And there's some people where you'll say, all right, I've moved on, or they moved on for me. There's people you'll say that, oh my God, no, I need to have this person with me, at least for a little while longer or foreseeable future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in our lives that it kind of is, we know when we know. And I know that's not helpful. Like what Pat's saying is, I don't know when to start certain things, but it's kind of like you feel it. In a moment, you get fed up with not having it. Like, oh, there's this person, I'm fed up with not having them in my life. Or, oh, here's this thing that I like doing. Well, I'm just going to keep doing it. Or I haven't started this yet, but I'll be damned if I don't start it today. You know when you need it, but
I mean,
you
I
might
don't
not
know
when.
how many people know that actually Pat and I are very dear friends. And we, for the kind of friendship we have developed, it didn't take very long, and it's come in bits and pieces over long periods of radio silence. So yes, when the people are right, when the intentions are right, when the connection is right, it just sticks. It will not feel forced.
I'm a fervent believer in things sort of happen when and if they're supposed to.
This is really interesting. People have been trying to drill this into my head. And I am the kind of person who backtracks. So I will just set a random date, right? It's okay for me to miss the date, but I need some target date. And I backtrack. If this needs to be done by this date, what milestones need to be hit at what times? And that's how I'll start working. I'll not put in extra effort today and try to get it done any sooner either. That's the date I'm committed to. I'm not trying to be an overachiever either. And the other thing I do is I identify a success metrics that, okay, it's not about just getting this done. How do I measure that I'm moving in the right direction? Is this even worth pursuing? Or if it got done sooner, was it too small of a goal? It's just too logical, too rigid, and it's just the way life's been. There are external factors that don't control the outcome. So I was just told this morning that one of the exercises I need to do is to be more spontaneous. And that's why I have zero script for today's podcast.
Wow, look at that. Already starting. Look at you. I'm looking at a blank notebook right now. She's doing good, y'all.
Proving her theater kid roots. She is currently snapping in agreement.
Listen, clapping's abrasive for the microphone.
So I came with just 3 points, which
Hey.
took it's been gut wrenching for me.
You're doing good. You're
And
doing
I did
good.
write my numbers so that
That's it. We're starting this over. We're starting the podcast. We're doing a
Also,
completely different show.
Don't let people guilt trip you for being too planned out and not spontaneous. That has its own. It's just about how you take advantage of these aspects that are inherently, it's like working with kids. I feel like it becomes apparent that there are many things that are nurture, and like we talk about like growing up in different cultures, etc. And then there's certain things that are just to me indisputably nature, in the sense of
Right.
we all know kids who are very reserved and kids who are very extroverted, and it can be twins, and there's just this different personality thing.
Yeah.
And I think that there's several different things on like a spectrum like that, and I think that impulsivity versus like the desire to like have things planned out in advance is to some extent one of those things that is kind of like you can have that affected a lot by your nurturing, and there's a part of it that is just sort of what your own internal wiring is, and
I'll
you
tell
should
you
own
why.
it.
I'll tell you why I do this. The only reason I do it, I don't care about success or failure. I am impulsive in that sense. I will take risks. The reason I do it is because the one thing that really kills me is regret and resentment. This to me is clarity. I thought about it. I told myself this is all I was looking for. If other things happened, it was hindsight. And therefore, it was out of my control. And I have no regrets. That's the only reason why I do it.
I think regret, and I know this sounds very higher up and holier than thou, regret is such a useless emotion. And I feel that because, yes, you can look back and saying, oh, had I just ended the argument this way, it would have been fantastic. I would have had a spontaneous win, or
Right.
had I just done this. But you wouldn't be who you are now without your failures. As someone who's fallen multiple times, or you get those bruises, you learn how to fall properly, you learn how to move forward from it. And yeah, there's a lot of moments in my life I can look back on and saying, oh, that was a dumb decision, or why did I let that person get away with this? But had that not have happened, how would I be handling things now? And that's a point that I feel. And so in a way, you kind of have to let it happen, let it fail. But same thing with spontaneity. It doesn't have to be constant. It doesn't have to be raffle so random. Duh, I'm going to just rub dirt in my eyes because I can. There's a nuance to it where, obviously you're not going to say, oh, I need to do this thing that needs so much preparation with no preparation. But also sitting here going, I need to open this door. Let me think about the multiple ways I could. There's a happy medium.
The most spontaneous thing, now that I think of it,
Yeah.
having Bobby over in the middle of the recording.
There you go. That was
spontaneous.
spontaneous. Yay!
I'm just so charming and quick-witted that it really wouldn't feel the
You
same thing
really
without
are.
me.
No, we're
I
talking about
agree.
Bobby, actually. I don't know if you know.
Thank you so much.
But no, I mean, that was a very spontaneous thing. And I think you're the one who prompted me because you guys had asked me before we started rolling, hey, is Bobby coming? I said, yeah, he's going to be a few minutes late. And you said, just texting him to barge into the edit bay. And I said, all right, bet. And then I did. And next thing you know.
Wait, so was it planned? Was it
Planned.
Oh my
Spontaneous.
God, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
Well,
Oh, we planned? Oh, no.
Oh,
okay,
no.
look. Anyway, I'm gonna steer us back to regret. Great New Order song. No, that's not really the point here.
It's more than anything. It's just a statement of how we value Bobby.
We do.
Everyone should.
We do. Everyone should value Bobby.
Everyone at home, please value Bobby. Take a moment.
It's
Leave
it's
some space
crucial.
for Bobby.
It's crucial at this time of year when you're trying to think about what you're thankful for. It's me.
It's Bobby.
It's Bobby. You need to pay Wikipedia the $2 I beg for, and then you need to also be thankful for Bobby.
And the Internet Archive. That thing kicks ass. Look, I like to think of with any past looking at all, regret, fondness, anything. I'm like, well, I'm content with where I am today. I'm content with who I am today. And were it not for the experiences I had in the past, I wouldn't be where and who I am. So I've kind of made my peace with pretty much everything.
You are so profound and youthful. For
I'm
your
a very
age.
old young man.
You're very
He says canonically he was born in what, 62?
Yeah,
So you
that's
said you
right.
were? Yeah.
I believe that.
I do too.
Well, when you spent your youth in the tumultuous 60s. I mean, I remember seeing the 68 Democratic Convention on TV.
Oh, here we go.
Note to self, ask Bobby to come in the last 10 minutes next time.
See, in a way, too, isn't that refreshing? Once again, look,
is.
if we're talking, I'm going to loop this back to New Year's resolutions. January 1st is where we feel all the change should happen.
Mm-hmm.
But look, in the middle of our podcast, we had change. In the middle, not in the
did.
beginning.
Right.
We had something interfere and disrupt our process.
Interfere?
And no, this isn't
Very
a good way.
Bobby-sobby.
Listen,
It
I'm
was
using...
beautiful.
Yes, beautiful Bobby. See? Bees.
Beautiful Bobby.
There we go. But the point being is that maybe we start out with these intentions and then something throws us through a different way, but
Right.
it's for the better.
It is.
And it may not
I do
feel like
agree.
it in the moment, but maybe in the long term it might be.
I mean, look at that. The youngest person in the room makes me feel like I'm much younger than him. I'm so deeply thankful. Thankful for Bobby and his canonical age.
Thank you,
Thank
Bobby,
you
and
for having
Canonical Age. Can we have an episode on canonical ages? Because I feel like I'm born in the 1800s.
She's an ancient vampire.
I
and
slept for a while. I woke up recently.
someone pulled the stake out of her heart.
Yeah, that was a mess.
You should watch What We Do in the Shadows.
I've been told I would like that show by
That's
my
great.
boss. Shout out to Nancy. We
Awesome
love
show.
Nancy. But I will watch that. Now I've had too many recommendations. I have to.
Right.
I gave her a list of 100 movies to watch like a while ago.
He
and
hand wrote them
she's-
for me. I have them nicely folded on my
Oh,
desk.
I want to
and
check how many I've watched.
Yeah, I'll bring it in. I'll bring it in and read you. He has also great handwriting, which also makes me
you.
angry. I can't read my own
What do you
handwriting.
mean? The handwriting on that notebook you gave me is perfect.
Well, I had to
That you actually, like,
try.
took a lot of
You
time.
put effort into that, but I'm saying like chicken scratch. I mean, Avantika has really nice handwriting.
That's not
as
true,
well,
folks.
too.
My handwriting is chicken scratch.
I mean, this is the reason why this podcast is called Mutual Appreciation Society.
I was once told
I
it looked like
appreciate
the
you.
Son of Sam's manifesto.
Thank you for thanking me.
Thank you for thanking me. Thank you. But no, and I think there's something. I mean, I know it's episode 2, but there's something in a way magical about the simplicity of what we have in common, but also what we bring to the table, and it really creates a fruitful discussion on comparative and also speculative for our futures too. Look, you took something from Bobby, and it's the podcast that keeps on giving.
It does. So, speaking of fruitful, this is something I learned from a life coach a few years ago, and I thought it was all mumbo jumbo.
Make sure to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables.
Wait for it, that too.
Okay, great. Yeah.
What she pointed out was that the right time to set intentions and to actually put things in action is spring. So Jan is the time where you should just be stepping out of your holidays, and if you can pull through the routine and if you can just, get through winter, that's fine, because nature and everything around you is still hibernating. Spring is the time when, if you really want to bring about a change, because, you can go outdoors, you can do things. Now, I know all resolutions are about getting into bikini body. I have no idea
Bikini
why.
body.
Well,
Yeah.
not for me.
See, no, that's because you think that way. You too, if
Beach
you get in
body.
the bikini body mindset, it's not a bikini, it's the mind. When you feel bikini ready,
Only
you are bikini
you can
ready.
say that.
Only it's
Only
true.
you can say
Only one in oneself can you define what it is to be bikini body ready. No one else can tell you that.
So beach body, okay, let's be inclusive.
Beach
Beach
bod.
body. That's still an alliteration.
Beach
We
body
are
bob?
on the roll. Whoa!
I'm sorry. All right. But yes,
Aw.
sorry.
I actually hate the beach is the funny part.
What? I love
What?
the beach.
Beach
What would you
Bobby
not-
sounds like an action figure or like
Yes!
a Ken doll thing where there's different
does.
options for it, and one of them is Beach Bobby.
Well, it's the action figure adaptation of that Charles Atlas ad from comic books in the 60s
Oh
with the
my
kid who
God.
gets sand kicked in his face.
I have no idea. I mean, you have to know He-Man.
Of course I do.
Oh, good, right?
Yeah.
He's the ultimate action figure. Listen,
Yes.
if you can look manly with a bob cut and a skirt, you're the manliest man I know.
Yes, great.
None of those people who are wearing those fake abs and shoulder pads and a cape to announce.
You be
they've
careful about
arrived.
superheroes. You be very careful.
Or superheroines.
Them too.
Them too. But, I just feel if someone can be like, I don't give a shit, categorically, I am the strongest human alive. And I'm so strong, I don't even care. I'm going to walk around in a skirt.
Yeah.
That to me is a real He-Man.
Well, honestly, subjectivity and objectivity are something that when you think beach bod, there's one, for a lot of people, one perceived notion, but that's not everybody's beach bod. There's something different to everybody, and we all bring different opinions and flavors. And so to be so close-minded to think like it's black or white, no, it's a gray spectrum. You know, just how if we had, I don't know, I like food, so I always say food. There's a dish on the table. I could say it's delicious. Avantika could say it's okay. Bobby could say it's horrible. And Pat could say, take it or leave it.
Why would Bobby call it horrible? He's a nice guy. He's probably going to say, interesting.
It's not for me.
Interesting. Interesting. So now I know if you ever say, interesting to me, I'm like, all right, that's not good.
Whenever
But
I
point being-
express neutrality on a subject, it
Yeah.
actually means I dislike it and I'm trying
There
to be
you go.
tactful.
Point being, though, despite all the opinions on this dish, does that make the dish bad? No. It means it's good for some and bad for others.
It just means it's unique.
It's unique. But that's with anything in life, I feel.
No, some things are unequivocally bad.
Yeah. White chocolate.
What?
White chocolate's not chocolate. It's just soap.
How,
It's edible soap.
how did you choose white chocolate above steamed Brussels sprouts?
Oh, but I
Ooh,
love
ste-
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, but not steamed.
I could do steamed.
Oh,
I don't
no,
mind them
you
a little.
monster.
I prefer them like crunchy, but I won't say no to
You want
steamed.
like pan roasted with like some pancetta.
Yeah, or like a little bit of maple drizzle and bacon bits and something like that. But see, I don't know. I'll eat most things.
Frozen asparagus, canned spinach.
Canned
Canned
spinach,
green beans.
canned green. Only in a
Abominable.
casserole. In a casserole, it has to be. It can't be fresh because it doesn't work right. But yeah, spinach.
Casseroles are going to be their own topic probably around Easter.
I do casseroles.
My father insists he doesn't like casseroles, and then I bring up casseroles that he likes, and he says, no, those aren't casseroles.
Those are one-pot dishes. There's a difference.
Does your father just categorize everything he doesn't like into a casserole?
Yes.
I like your father.
He's a good man. See,
So, yeah.
like my mom and Bobby's dad.
So I think that's the thing with resolutions. They should just be resolutions. They should be changes you want to see in yourself, continued changes. And listen, if you don't like it, it's quite all right to let go of it. You tried something new. You didn't like the change it brought for you, and
That's why Nightmare Before Christmas is such a good movie.
oh, it's such
Yes.
a good movie. Is it not?
If there's one thing my mom has said to me and continues to say to me is that you don't ever have to do anything in life. If there's something you end up not liking, if it's in the middle of it, if it's right in the beginning at the end, no one's forcing you to keep it there. You can move on. You can change. And that doesn't mean that there aren't better things ahead. There's people who are 18, 19, going to college, not sure of what yet. And like, that's okay. There's people who switch it halfway in, and that's fine too. You can start something, and it's okay to stop it if you don't want it.
I'm assuming your mother is 0% Asian.
My mother is actually the Asian one. What? Yeah, but she's mixed as well. She's Dutch and German, and then she's Indonesian as well. But trust me, I do get Indonesian
Why
isms
is
a
your
lot
mother
too.
in denial then?
In denial, Indonesian. What do we need to circle back to the conclusion of?
Yeah, it was about spring. So we
Right, yeah.
should all
Spring.
just agree that yes. Or if you, because nobody here is really setting New Year's resolutions on New Year's Day, everybody just chime in and say, yes, we should absolutely be doing what the right thing is for us when it feels right. And then we will have a logical conclusion rather than, oh, may I pee? And then we just,
My resolution is to finally go to HR about this.
My resolution is for us to get HR.
Oh, no.
All right. None
Okay.
of this. Okay.
This is great.
Spring.
Spring.
Yeah.
So, no, I think there's something to be said about the nature of things growing. And if you think about, at least here in New England, fall is a time when autumn, when things reset and the leaves die off and they crumble, they turn colors, and then they just join the earth. Is the tree dead? No, it's recycling. It's resetting. And that's what you were talking about, Avantika, earlier, where you said, this is the time where we have our hangover, our reset. And that's what nature around us is doing. And spring, we see buds. We see
Right.
flowers start to bloom, flowers that turn into fruits, which turn into nutrients. Is this the prime time for that change? Oh, no.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Bobby, do you have thoughts? Are you a New Year's resolution person or anytime resolution?
Yeah, pretty much any time. Again, I kind of work off of... I work it into my schedule when I can. It's based largely on what's convenient. I've never taken much stock of spring as a season. I guess partially because in New England it's like this weird slush where like it gets gradually less wintry and then one day it's 70 degrees.
That is true, and all the bulbs just bloom.
Well, and it's that really because I have up to this point in my life worked off of a school year timeline. The spring happens to be the sloggiest time of the school year. So it's sort of a like, I just keep my head down and get through it and then look up and it's, oh, terrific, the year's done.
I love this. This is magical.
Isn't it?
And look, we learned a little bit of something about ourselves individually and as a unit today.
I think we learned the most about you, Flustered Faith.
Oh, thank you. Oh, God. That's about it for me. That's all I got. Everything else is going to be the same from here on out. But no, I think it's...
All right, Pat, if you just want to put a soundbite of what do you think you're going to do with resolutions or no resolutions or self-improvement, we can close it and we'll edit out the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Severely.
Sometimes I think getting out of your comfort zone is overrated, and the best thing that you can do is put yourself in situations in which what is in your comfort zone is of most value.
That makes sense.
That's
I like
such a
that.
good point.
That's wonderful.
Find the right pond.
Cool.
Try to learn a new trick.
Pond.
Yeah.
Pond for Pat.
Pond for Pat.
Pond for
Cool.
Pat.
Pond would be good for you. It's a natural spring.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think that was
That's a good
fun
one, Pat.
discussion.
That's a good one. I loved it. Well, thank you for having me. It was a
Yes.
pleasure.
Thank you for letting me crash this.
Thank
Anytime.
you, Bobby.
Thank you for letting us commandeer you. He was literally walking past, and we were like,
Right.
like
It's like a tractor beam.
But it was spontaneous and fun.
And look, and that's going towards your goals, too, of
is.
spontaneity.
Cool.
It is, yes.
We have a nice wrap up.
I'm an
here.
overachiever.
And you can still be, but you can be spontaneous while doing so.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a goal for next year. I've overachieved by being spontaneous.
Look at
too
that.
much.
That's it. Look, you jumped it. You said, forget the timeline. We're doing this now, and we're gonna. And that fits in with spontaneity. So
Yeah.
you're defying those expectations of what it is you thought you needed at what time and what you actually need and are going to do.
And
Kudos.
I didn't wait for a date to do it. When the timing's right and the opportunity presents itself, I took that leap of faith.
Hey,
She's never heard that pun before.
no, I haven't. That's a brand new one.
Thank you.